Are you and your student trying to figure out which college is best for them? Maybe they are decided on a few schools, but now it comes down to which city do we want to live in? Which experience are we looking for? Sometimes concentrating on the town around the college can actually be that differentiating factor between one school or the other if all the other things are equal. And this really could make or break an experience. So maybe a university checks all the other boxes, but the college town just isn't quite right. This can actually lead to them transferring, which I'm going to share a story about in just a moment. So in today's video, I want to cover the 5 top college towns in America, but I also want to give just some ideas on what to consider when weighing the pros and cons of one city versus another. Now, make sure you hit subscribe because every single week we release a new strategy to help families pay for college and work towards a debt-free degree. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System and Debt-Free Degree Lab, where we focus on just that, how to get families through the college experience without a ton of student loan debt. Now, we primarily focus on scholarships, but things like avoiding transferring can actually play a part in this strategy as well. So that is where picking the right college town comes in. If we don't pick the right college town, it could lead to transferring, which could lead to lost credits, which could lead to extra semesters, which could lead to more debt. So as you can see, every week, every strategy, it somehow ties into working towards that debt-free degree. Now again, when looking at a town around a college, it can be very important. I have seen it myself where students have transferred because they just didn't find the right fit for the area. So quickly, I want to share just a few tips on what to look for, and then we'll get into the 5 best college towns that we've found in America. So the first is what amenities are available. What is your student interested in? What do they often use in your town, in your area? Maybe they love rock wall climbing. Is that a facility that's in the area? Will they have access to things that are important to them as far as amenities? Second, what kind of lifestyle does the area convey? So for example, if your student is all about hiking, maybe a town that is near mountains or big on hiking themselves would be a fit. But if they hate hiking, then maybe that would not be the best place for them to go. Now, of course, maybe if they're uncertain, this could be an opportunity to branch out their interests. But for example, if they are a beach bum, then maybe that would not be the best place for them to go hours and hours and hours away from the coast. Now, here's my quick story. I have a good friend of mine in Texas, and as you know, Texas is hot and they see snow maybe once every 10 years. Well, he decided to go to college in Illinois. And I'm sure you're not surprised to hear he made it through one Illinois winter and transferred back down to Texas. It did not take long. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you're going all the way up there to that freezing cold winter. And he really did try, but walking through a blizzard on his way to classes was not for him. So again, he did end up transferring back, which meant that he did have to add an extra semester to his degree, which also resulted in extra costs. So this is why this is important. Now, we also want to ask ourselves what is available beyond graduation. So oftentimes students will graduate from college and they'll stay in that area, in that region where they studied. So are there jobs? What is housing like? Is it a growth area or is it an area that's declining? So you may want to consider, would I want to be in this area beyond college? Is that an option or is that something I'm just not even interested in? Now, going off that, you also want to ask yourself, is there a network here? A lot of times that network is one of the best benefits that comes from a college experience. So asking yourself, is there a network? Maybe your student wants to become an entrepreneur. Is there an entrepreneurial network here? Or maybe they want to go into the arts. Is there an arts network here? So looking into what kind of groups of people they can mingle with and network with, that can certainly make a difference as well when it comes to one town versus the other. Now, going off of that and kind of building on what I mentioned earlier, what kind of vibe is the city or town? Is it an outdoorsy one like I talked about earlier? Is that a good fit? Or maybe it's a town that only focuses on college ball, like Penn State. It is literally all farmland, and then it is huge. It just comes to life when it's game day. It's one of the craziest game days I've ever seen. Or maybe it's a mixture, like University of South Carolina, where they're in a capital, but they also have a big games day. Or maybe your student is passionate about the arts, and so they want to be within a decent amount of train ride distance from New York City, like maybe Philly or New Jersey. Or maybe they can be close to Chicago. Maybe that's enough arts for them as well. So the vibe of a city is also something to keep in mind. And last but not least, it's distance from home. So maybe your student is saying, you know what, I want to be as far as possible from home. A lot of students say this, and unfortunately, a lot of students realize very quickly that, whoa, this is actually very different from what I'm used to, and it would kind of be nice to go home occasionally and do some laundry. So a lot of times that far distance does result in transferring, but many times it doesn't. So we just have to try to assess, is our student truly prepared for this? Is this something they really want to be involved in? Now, I, for example, I was about 100 to 150 miles from my hometown, so it was far enough to where I only went home on special occasions, but it was close enough where once I realized, oh my gosh, I need my suit, and I was able to drive home for the weekend, grab it from my parents, and then head back. Not to forget all the dirty laundry that I brought with me that my mom was so amazing and did for me. So for me, being semi-close to home and not too far, but yet far enough, that was perfect for me. And the other thing to think about when it comes to distance is, have we budgeted for travel? If it's very far, then that might include tickets, flights, shipping things. That is an expense that maybe you didn't really have on your mind for your student if you have worked out some sort of budget, which is what we do with all our families in the scholarship system and debt-free degree lab. So comment below, what are you and your student looking for in a college town? Did I miss anything that you think is important to consider when it comes to deciding between one city versus another? Let me know in the comments, and hopefully that can help other parents as well. And before I get into my list of 5 university towns, I do want to mention that we have a free training on how to secure scholarships. So if you are considering costs, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, we want to go out of state, this is going to be expensive, going for external scholarships, private scholarships, that's my bread and butter. We have a full training with 6 steps to securing scholarships. We will link to it in the description or somewhere on the screen here. Okay, let's get into the best college towns that we found. The first one is Ithaca, New York. So you have Ithaca College as well as Cornell. Now, it's a small town vibe, approximately 30,000 people, but it's inclusive and rich in culture. It's very walkable. There's lots of history, museums, historical buildings. It's an older town. So this could be a great vibe for students who are interested in that. Of course, you've also got to keep in mind New York winters. So again, thinking about how can we handle a winter up north if, say, we're from the south. Which leads me to my second town, and that is Scottsdale, Arizona. I personally love Scottsdale, actually. I've been there myself, and they have a community college as well as a school of medicine plus others, but it is on a safer city list, so it is very safe, which is something that you want to consider as well. It's also very warm and sunny, so for those students who are not meant for the northern winters, this could be a great option. It also has a lot of lively energy, parks for studying, events, little cafes. So there's also public transportation options, so getting around could be easy. Now, the other thing here is, say we're from the north and we don't like the heat, then maybe this would not be a good fit. It's also within driving distance to the Grand Canyon, which is pretty cool. Now let's head into Utah. So we've got Provo, Utah, where you've got Brigham Young University, and this is more a relaxed vibe. It's known as the Happy Valley and ranked #1 for well-being in the United States. So that is something great for examining emotional health and work environment, physical health. How can we have these healthy behaviors? Is it something that we can pull from our surrounding areas? Absolutely. So that is something that this town is actually known for. It's very walkable. It's also very affordable and has a low crime rate. So cost is absolutely something that we also want to consider when it comes to college. For example, Utah is going to be much more affordable than any town in California. Then we have Gainesville, Florida. So here we have University of Florida with the Gators, as well as Flagship University, among many others. You're also close to many other towns that students can drive to if they are interested in getting out for a weekend. But within Gainesville, you've got lots of shops and theaters. It's great if you're living on campus. There's also a lot of outdoor activities and festivals, hiking trails, public parks, and don't forget the Florida sunshine. So these are great opportunities to take advantage of that beautiful weather. Also hot though. It is full of Southern charm and it is a moderately liberal city. So that might be something also that your student wants to consider is this a liberal or conservative town? And just a cool fact, it is the birthplace of Tom Petty and of Gatorade. So now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's why it's Gatorade, because the Gators? Now the last one, and it's coincidentally where that student moved to, my friend, when he realized Illinois was not for him, and that is College Station, Texas. So you have Texas A&M University there. It's one of the largest schools. You want to talk about a football vibe, you've got it there. You also have some heat. It's dense and suburban, so it still has that small town kindness and sense of community. It is more conservative, of course, but there is something to think about is the heat. It is very hot, very little snow and ice, maybe some hailstorms in the summer, but that's a different type of ice. But you do have that Southern draw, that Southern culture. Personally, I absolutely love Texas. Great food, great people, and you have so many awesome cities in that state. But it also is a massive state. So if you want to road trip to that state, I actually had driven from South Carolina to Dallas and South Carolina to Houston. Those took 18 and 15 hours respectively. So and I would say a lot of that drive was actually just getting in and out of Texas. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to carpool to the city. Okay, so we covered tons of things to consider. Cost, location, vibe, hobbies, access to network, things beyond college, and so much more. So you really want to take into account all of these different aspects when it comes to comparing one university town versus another. So if your student is considering 2 different universities or maybe a few more, and really they're pretty equal besides location, hopefully this video helps understand what is important to us and what questions do we need to ask as far as which town is better for our students. Now, for a full list of our top 10 college towns, we are linking to that blog in the description. Make sure you head on over to our website and check that out. And don't forget to sign up for that free training that I mentioned, because no matter where your student is going to school, even if it is out of state or local, there are tons of scholarship opportunities that they can apply to. So make sure you go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free training, or you can click the link in the description below. All right, again, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System, and thank you for attending this video. I hope to see you in the next one.